Just to make sure we're perfectly clear, to any future sponsors or people that want to advertise via the Cinefanatics, we will respect you and your rights and wishes to be an advertiser, and we'll never tell you to go F yourself because you're the one with the money. Just making sure we're clear. What is going on, movie lovers? We are the Cinefanatics. It is Wednesday night. It is time for the tagline. My name is Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And we got a lot to talk about. We haven't been here for a couple of weeks. Apparently, there was some major holiday last week that, these stupid holidays all dropping in whenever they feel like it, interrupting our daily lives and disrupting what we're trying to build here on this YouTube platform. Is it too early for me to get on a soapbox?
Is it too early for you to start turning into Jack Nicholson?
These stupid holidays want to come in here and just ruin everything I'm doing. Do you feel me? Do you understand? Pour me another shot.
You can't handle the holidays, clearly.
You can't handle the holidays. Yeah. Oh, good Lord. So a lot to talk about. A lot to scream about, I should say. We will be screaming about some stuff in a little bit. But before we get to that, let's get to the constant YouTube things. It's streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. If you have the ability to help us out, please just drop a donation to streamlabs.com/cinefanatics.
It's the holiday season. It's the time for giving to people who can't pay their rent.
So, with rent due, like in 2 days, anything you could possibly help us out with would be fantastic. But this is not a show here to make money. It is a show to entertain you with our opinions and news of movie going ons. But you can still donate to Streamlabs if you would like. Also, patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you feel like we are worth your support and you have the means to do so, please hop on the tier. It's good for you. There's only 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. That being said, if you are a part of the $5 tier, here a little bit later tonight, roughly at the 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, come join us. Let's see, you are at the $5 tier. Come join us on our Discord and voice chat. We will be doing holiday movie trivia. The words are coming out faster than the tongue can work. Never mind. Anyways, so come join us for holiday movie trivia. If you feel like you're really good at holiday movie trivia, come test that. Come hang out with us. It's a lot of fun, a lot of good time over there. So yeah,
just a lot of good time. Just a whole bunch of good time.
Whole bunch of good times. Yes. We are usually joined by our expert quiz master, Mr. Vernon Greene, who does a very good job at that.
Who's calling me out by name in the chat? Why would you do that 3 times?
Well, stop hoing.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, so that is coming up a little bit later tonight. So hop on that Patreon if you're not a part of it already and come hang out. Movies watched over this past week. Chris, it looks like you've only seen one, so let me get mine out of the way and then we'll talk about your one as we talk about my last one as well. So yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks. Over the past couple of weeks, I watched a movie called Your Lucky Day, which is referred to it as like a bottle movie. It's one of those movies that like only takes place in one location, kind of like Reservoir Dogs. All takes place at that warehouse. This one was interesting. It did premiere at Fantastic Fest. I didn't get a chance to see it, and there was a lot of people around me that were all singing the praises of it. So I thought it was interesting. It was a good movie. So recommend that. I did watch Thanksgiving, the Eli Roth horror movie. So there is a review up on the channel. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. Spoiler free. It's a fun movie. I thought Eli Roth did a good job with that. Violent Night. Finally caught up with this. I didn't get to watch it last year, so I watched it recently, and it was a good, like, little fun movie. It's like Santa Claus meets Die Hard. So, and Violent Night actually is a Christmas movie, in my opinion.
It stars Santa Claus.
Huh?
Because it stars Santa Claus.
Well, yeah. And then couple other movies. Pontypool, which is an old, not old, but within the past like 10 years or so, zombie flick that takes place in a radio station. Also a bottle movie, as it all takes place at a radio station. So that was interesting. Dumb Money, which came out this past September, about the GameStop stock pricing and buyouts and stuff. I thought it was going to be interesting, but man, unless you know the stock market and you're very competent with stock terms, yeah, I still was struggling a little bit with some of the stuff they were describing in that movie. And they didn't have anything like fancy. Like, what was that? Was it The Big Short? Where they would have people interject and tell you like terms about the real estate market.
Most famously, Margot Robbie in a bathtub.
Yeah, doing her best Pierre Escargot from All That impression.
Pierre Escargot!
Oh.
Well, except she wasn't wearing a yellow rain suit.
Yeah.
She was wearing nothing.
Is it too early for me to get on a soapbox? Wait, why would I get on a soapbox about that? Never mind.
You're like, oh, look, it's time to watch Big Short.
I'm going to go watch Big Short now. Y'all have fun with the tagline without me. But yeah, Dumb Money. Some of it was fun. I thought the characters, the acting was all done very well. Great cast. Just kind of hard to follow some of the movie if you're not familiar with those stock terms. And then we'll get to the last one here. Last week, I was challenged by Jeremy Miller to watch No One Will Save You. This is it's a horror movie, even though I don't think it was really that horrific, but it came out, I also believe, this past September on Hulu. So a lot of these movies that came out in September, I was not able to watch because I was so busy getting ready for Fantastic Fest and whatnot. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. But yeah, I thought it was okay. It had some good moments to it. There's like no dialogue in this movie at all. There's like one sentence that's spoken, and that's it. So interesting when you can make an entire movie with no talking, and you get everything from inflection or facial expressions or the mood or the music, just stuff like that. It's really amazing how they are able to do that. But
there you go,
Chris. What was your one movie?
Khan!
Oh, Wrath of Khan, huh?
It's literally what I put in the show notes.
Yeah.
I was challenged by William Harold. I was suggested by William Harold to watch The Wrath of Khan. So here's my experience with Star Trek movies. I have seen the new Kelvin ones, the three. I've seen Star Trek Generations, and now I've seen Wrath of Khan. That's how many Star Trek movies I've seen. And here's the thing. Wrath of Khan, it's not bad. It's not bad. The fact that I know these characters now, at least, and this is going to make some of you Star Trek people out there cry, at least from the newer ones, it's fun to watch them. It's fun to make connections too. I will say this. I'm getting some positive stuff out of the way here. It's fun to make the connections too, especially as they were talking about the Kobayashi Maru. And I was like, hey, I remember that from when Kirk rigged it so he could win. And then he talked in this movie about how he rigged it so he could win. And I was like, hey, I saw that happen in that movie. That's a lot of fun. That's cool. Hey, connections.
It's the Memba berries, only you're doing them backwards.
I'm doing them back. Yeah, I'm doing them in reverse. I was like, hey, I remember that from the more recent movies. Yeah, no, it's there's a lot of good moments in it. There's a lot of like good stuff, especially with Kirk and especially between Kirk and Spock. My gosh, it's like some of the best Kirk and Spock stuff I imagine is out there. Just we all know what I'm talking about. Everyone's seen Wrath of Khan and before I did, so everyone knows what I'm talking about between Kirk and Spock. That one scene that they tried to maintain the emotion of in Star Trek Into Darkness, and I guess they did fine enough in the new ones.
I like how they kind of
reversed
that in Into Darkness. I thought they did pretty well with that in Into Darkness.
Yeah, it was interesting. But now that we've established that there's positives, there's stuff to like about the movie, especially Ricardo Montalban's portrayal of Khan, I think is really good. He's a fantastic actor. was a fantastic actor, and he did a great job portraying the character of Khan. Now let's talk about what I put on Twitter earlier last night and today. The character of Khan is a fart in the wind. that guy is supposed to be threatening, and he was like 18 steps behind Kirk the entire movie. And I'm like, okay, I don't. Is this just a movie where we're just solely supposed to? Yeah, that's about all.
You're focused on the wrong thing, Chris.
I guess so. Is this a movie where we're supposed to be just cheering for the fact that Kirk is, chess moves ahead of him the entire time? Because at no point did I really feel like that Khan was ever going to, succeed or get his way, or I didn't feel the stakes, is what I'm saying. He was a villain that didn't provide any stakes for me. Kirk just constantly.
You want him to bring steak?
Yes.
Lobster, crab.
Listen, I know he had the chest of a beefcake, but he did not bring any steaks.
He's like that Liver King guy. He eats chicken and gets salmonella all the time.
Yeah, see, I didn't feel this. I didn't feel like he had the advantage most of the movie. I felt like from the very beginning, Kirk was kind of outplaying him in places. To the point where, like, you even see, like, Khan's crew, like, dude, we have a ship. We could just leave. You just leave us all behind. And Khan was like, no, I want to keep playing the game. And I'm like, I get it. He's got to be an egotistical guy, and I think that's fine. But they keep talking about his superior intellect, and I did not see that displayed. So in this situation, this movie kind of falters a little bit for me in that the villain, while portrayed amazingly, just was not, I think, written amazingly. And maybe that's just the Star Trek side of it, and how I just don't connect as much with Star Trek. But I don't know. Well, I felt like I connected pretty well with Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal of Khan.
So I want to bring up kind of like what we were talking about last night in regards to it. Now that we've got like Star Trek viewers watching us right now, like William Harold, I believe that most of what made Khan intimidating was primarily set up by the TV show. You had to have seen Khan in the TV show to understand or get how threatening he is in the movie. And so, yeah, like William Harold, anyone else who's watched the original Star Trek that knows that, if you can confirm, because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I've never seen the original Khan episodes. I think the only real episode of the original Star Trek I watched was like the Tribbles one, like way back in the day, just because I thought Tribbles were funny. But
Tribble.
But yeah, that's what I would assume, that they made him more threatening in the original series, and that's the difference between, like, say, Star Trek and Star Wars. Star Wars, you didn't have a whole series that came out that you needed to be familiar with. The movies just explain themselves.
Yeah, I think. From what it sounds like, from what a lot of people have said on Twitter, is that I definitely should have seen Space Seed first, which was the episode that Khan was in. And on hindsight, it would have been probably best to at least watch that episode first before watching Wrath of Khan. But I think Khan could have been so much more in the movie than he was. Is kind of where I'm getting at. I think there was a lot of potential there for him. Mm-hmm. Looking back, I would have probably rewritten the movie a little bit differently to kind of really kind of throw on the physical intimidation of Khan, the stakes, I know, like, people died, but, like, I don't know. I just need to feel more. I just need to feel more terror from Khan, I guess. So, and I didn't.
So that being said. That was the movie suggestions from 2 weeks ago. I don't know if I saw Jeremy's popped up while you were talking. I don't know if you heard me talk about No One Will Save You, since he suggested it. Thought it was a good movie. Love the fact that it's like silent the whole time. Like, kind of impressed by that. So we're going to move on with the show, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the suggestions while we're moving on. Kind of like what we did the last time, just because we can't just sit here and hold the show. So let's go ahead and start off with me. What do y'all have a suggestion? So someone suggest a movie. First movie that I'm okay with that I haven't seen pop up in the chat, that's the one that I will take. What are you doing? Are you trying to hold everything up?
I'm holding the show.
Okay.
All right. That was dumb.
William Harold, I have seen Mac and Me.
Oh, I don't want to watch that. Don't suggest that for me. I feel like I've seen it now after seeing Paul Rudd show up on Conan so many times.
Yeah, but Paul Rudd just kept showing that one clip.
Yeah, but like, do you need to watch the rest of the movie? I think that one clip is probably the only clip you really need to see.
Anyways, yeah, y'all suggest one, and then after we get a suggestion for me, we'll move on to my brother. But let's also go ahead and move on to movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
back to you.
All right. So let's talk about that box office. Can we guess what the number one in the box office is this week?
I'm gonna guess it's that Hunger Games.
Keep in mind that Napoleon and Wish both came out this week.
I'm gonna guess it's that Hunger Games.
And you would be right. It is the Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Hitting that number one spot for the second week in a row. It debuted last week, so we missed the first week of it. But it does have a $29 million pull in its second week. Current total domestic, current total, like counting up to today, is about 103.2 million. So it's starting probably a little low. I don't really know what the budget for it was, but I do know worldwide it's sitting about 181 million. So it's probably going to, I would imagine that if its budget is in the 100 to 200 million dollar range, it's probably going to at least break even, probably after marketing, I imagine, in its total theatrical run. So
Okay, real quick. I don't want to keep getting these, but this one actually just sounds so stupid. Like, it is literally sharks swimming in a cornfield and attacking people. Like, all right. I will accept that one, William Harold.
that's crazy. Now do me. No. So as we're waiting for that, we'll move on. Number 2 is Napoleon, with about 20,600,000. So not a strong debut for Napoleon. And then Wish, of course, we see, a lot of talk about Wish right now, that the latest Disney animated feature. And it looks interesting in terms of animation style because it combines both kind of the new Disney animation and the old style of Disney animation. And it really seems like it's supposed to be like a love letter to Disney movies, but it's debuting with about 19 million in its opening weekend. So not a strong start. We got a suggestion for me.
Yeah, I'm double checking. I have seen it and I can't remember if it's bad.
Yeah, so that's one caveat for those who don't remember, is that I'm not into horror movies at most, but I'm also specifically not really into anything that has like hyper bloody violence gore type stuff. That's not my style. So we do have the right to veto certain movies at times. Just in case Let Me In is one of those kinds of movies.
There's definitely some stuff in there that would make you flinch, but I'm not seeing anything necessarily.
The American remake of Let the Right One In.
Yeah. Let Me In is It's good. It is a good movie. I thought it was very well done. Great story. Stars Chloe Moretz and Cody Smith-McPhee.
Oh yeah, I think I remember them being in a movie together that was kind of a creepy-ish or something like that. But
yeah, it's all right. There's definitely some. It is a good movie. I would say it's one that leaves a lot of like the violence off screen into your imagination. But I mean, at most it looks like what's actually shown on screen is just like knife stabs and.
Okay.
So depending on if you would like to accept that one, it is a good movie.
This is like this. So this reminds me of like a Bones and All type situation where people are saying like Bones and All is like a really beautiful film, but it's also not for me.
It's also about cannibals.
It's also very much not for me in terms of the graphicness of it. So
yeah,
it's Matt Reeves too. That reminds me, I do need to go back and watch the newer Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah.
I know I've seen the first one, but I need to watch all of them.
So do you want to accept Let Me In? Is it well, here's the next question. Is it streaming somewhere? Oh, it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
You want to do that one?
Yeah. I mean, hey, if we believe it's kosher, you know what? I'll look it up too here in just a second, just to make sure.
When you finish the box office and then look it up and give your opinion.
Yep. So next movie in the box office, number 4, we got Trolls Band Together. They made another Trolls movie apparently. It also debuted last week. And then at the number 5 spot, debuting last week, you saw it. It is Thanksgiving. Opened at the number 3 spot last week, and it's number 5 this week. Number 6 spot, The Marvels, with 6 million, and its total gross. Let's look at the worldwide for The Marvels real quick, because that's a big story. Worldwide for The Marvels so far is about 188 million, and it's been out for 3 weeks. Not great. It's not great. It's not great. We're sad about that one because that one's actually a lot better than the box office says right now. But honestly, there's a whole discussion to be had about why movies like The Marvels and Wish are not doing so well, and a lot of it has to do with Disney Plus, I think, and marketing, and a couple other things. So,
which we're going to talk about here in just a minute.
Yep. Number 7 is The Holdovers. Number 8, Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, finally dropping to the number 8 spot. That's crazy. Number 9 is Saltburn, which I believe also had a debut at Fantastic Fest, right?
Oh, shut up.
And then number 10 is
you.
Number 10. You sound like Elon Musk talking to advertisers. And number 10 is Five Nights at Freddy's. Another big thing to talk about here is Next Goal Wins, that Taika Waititi soccer movie. Excuse me, football. Debuted last week, and it is already at number 11. So it is. It's only made about 5 million domestically. Not doing so hot. That one is.
That was one that has been like struggling to get released. Like it's been pushed back multiple times. So,
yeah. This right here. This is why. This is why a lot of I think some of the Disney movies are not doing so well, is because honestly, give it about a month and a half or so, it's just going to be on Disney Plus. And if it's not like a big event film like an Avengers Endgame or something like that, or like a Star Wars movie, I'm just going to wait and watch it at home kind of a situation is happening.
Yeah, they need to restructure that and not put. Here's the thing: like we saw The Marvels in the theater. I'm eagerly waiting to watch it again.
Yeah,
but I'm okay with like having to wait a little bit longer if it means that it will do better in the box office and it will continue to fund future Marvel movies, because I'm enjoying the hell out of them, whether they're good or bad. I'm actually really loving them. So
yeah, I think you're going to see the Marvels have a huge life on Disney Plus. They're Marvel and Disney are going to see the back end, and it's going to tell them something. It's going to teach them a lesson or something here. Last big news story on the box office. Barbie's at number 23. Which, keep in mind, it was at number 28 last week, so it's actually coming back up the box office. So, hey, go Barbie.
I'm wondering if there were like families that went to go see that during Thanksgiving.
If there's anywhere still playing it, yeah.
There's definitely places. It has to be if there's box office numbers.
I feel like it's got to be like dollar theaters now, right?
That's a lot of people watching that in the dollar theater.
If
it went up from 28 to 23.
Do dollar theaters still exist? Well, we're talking about the fact that it made, $13,625.
I would say, don't we have a dollar theater over by us somewhere?
Maybe. I think it's more like a $3 theater.
Yeah. With like $10 tubs of popcorn. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that was it for the box office. So yeah, today it was released. Bob Iger, current CEO of Disney, was interviewed. There was some kind of like an event about books or something like that. I don't know the details of it.
Just to preface this, he's doing his best Bob Chapek impression currently.
Me or
Bob Iger?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, he basically did this interview and was saying that, of course, he blames a lot of the failure of Disney on what Bob Chapek was doing. Sure, that's fine. There's a reason that the board ousted Chapek and brought Iger back in. So that's, I believe that business-wise, that would make sense to push the blame on Chapek. There is a lot of stuff here. Like, there's a lot of different comments that I could see going so many different directions. Like, quality needs attention to deliver quality. It doesn't happen by accident, and quantity, in our case, diluted quality, and Marvel has suffered greatly from that. This is the one job of like being a CEO that I believe is going to be really hard, especially in this case, when you're talking about you're the CEO of a company that pretty much makes money off of art. So they're pushing art out there, or what is defined as art. They're making money off of it. And they're talking about the quality over quantity. I was like, all you're doing is quantifying that art. And as a CEO, there's a part of me that's thinking like it would be bad. It would be in bad form to talk down about your product, essentially. But at the same time, you have to be responsible for what your company puts out. If someone makes a product that sells on the shelf of like Walmart, and that product unfortunately has some kind of a recall, the company has to step up and say, hey, we're sorry about that. We figured out what the problem is. We fixed the problem. It's situations like that. You have to be able to talk about the downfalls of your company, especially when it's something like even a majority of moviegoers who primarily do not have any idea what the movie business behind the scenes is like, sitting here and telling you like, y'all messed up. You should have done this. Like if normal people could think of a better solution than what the big billion-dollar company is doing. Yeah. So that's one of the issues with that. He's saying right now his number one priority is to help the studio, specifically Marvel, turn around, which would make sense because in all honesty, out of everything that Disney owns, that's their bread and butter right now. They're not known for cranking out their Mickey Mouse cartoons.
Yeah, especially as Star Wars movies are not hitting theaters right now. So Marvel's kind of been the big money maker at the moment.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just kind of weird.
The comments are weird, like especially the quality over quantity thing, because if you're looking at like the big picture of all the movies that Disney produces, they still produce some quality movies. Like I know Nerd was bringing up Elemental in reference to people watching it on Disney Plus. Elemental is a quality movie. Pixar, way more often than not, is continually putting out quality movies, and they don't have a quantity issue. We very rarely get more than one Pixar in a movie. Very rarely. More than one Pixar movie in a year.
We usually
Very
get
rarely.
It used to be at one Pixar like every 2 years because that's how long it took them to work on those movies.
Now it's almost nearing a one Pixar a year, and there are some years where, like, I think I want to say, was it Brave and the Good Dinosaur? I think were the same year, or the Good Dinosaur was the same year as one of the movies. In which case, there you might see a little bit of a quality diminish, at least in my opinion, for Good Dinosaur.
Or what was Soul and what was that one about the brothers, the dragon?
Oh, Soul and Onward, yeah, those
Onward.
were both in the same year. Yeah.
Now that was the year that shall not be named, I believe, because I believe that was 2020.
It was, yeah.
Onward was one of the few movies that actually came out in the theater before the world shut down, and then Soul, just went straight to Disney.
So Pixar is one of those where they're still continually putting out quality. As far as the regular Disney animation, I mean, if we look in the last several years, I would say that the Frozen movies are quality. I would say Moana is quality. A lot of these movies have been quality. I haven't seen Wish yet. I saw
doesn't sound good.
I saw that movie that I can't remember the name of right now.
Elemental?
No, I said Elemental already. It's a non-Pixar. It's the Journey to the Center of the Earth movie.
Strange World.
Strange World, yes. Completely forgot the name of that movie. That's not a good sign. It was fine. It was fine. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was just okay. It was just an okay, fine story. So, I don't know if there is entirely a quality versus quantity issue. I would argue that maybe Marvel does need to slow down just a bit, at the very least, in terms of the shows they're putting out on Disney Plus.
I think Disney Plus is where everything needs to be reined back in.
I think Marvel is fine with 3 movies a year, but they also have to maybe reel it back to no more than like 2 shows in a year. I think they've been doing too much. And even then, I think if they're doing 2 shows, then maybe they want to stick with doing 2 movies. I think the less is more approach is really big in terms of building hype for each of these movies as event features. Like the Marvels could have been an event movie to go to the theater to see, but there's just too much else that, you don't necessarily need to watch the shows to be informed about the movie, but people felt like you did. And if people feel like you do, whether you do or not, that's where your issue is going to be.
I would actually, what I would like is if they could scale back the Marvel shows. One, they need to bring back another like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They need a show that is going to run for multiple seasons. Every year you could count on another season, and that show is a standalone show, probably street level Marvel show.
It exists within the MCU, but does not inform any of the movies.
Yeah, and then it lightly connects to the movies as the movies come out.
That was the best aspect of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where the movies informed what happened in the show, but the show didn't necessarily inform anything that happened in the movies.
Correct. But the thing is they dropped that way too early. Like the first one that they did was the end of that first season when it was revealed that Hydra was within S.H.I.E.L.D. because Winter Soldier just came out and changed the whole landscape of the show. That was great. There was an episode that was them cleaning up the remnants of Thor: The Dark World. That's great. That works. And then they stopped. They started having their own like little stories that did incorporate stuff from the movies, but it's more of they incorporated it because that was the Marvel universe overall. Like them having to deal with the Kree when there really wasn't a movie at that time really dealing with the Kree.
The hardest thing to keep up with that, and we can get back to Bob Iger's comments here in just a second. The hardest thing to keep up with that specifically would be what if you have a pandemic or an actor-writer strike. Now, granted, the actor-writer strike is going to keep the show from happening regardless, but what I'm talking about is the shifting of movies in the schedule. We've seen a lot of movie shifting over the last 4 years or so, just due to all the various world events and things happening. So what happens when you have that much shifting? That immediately puts the kibosh on a show that's built into the next movie happening.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging, but something like that I would like to see instead of these one-off shows that may or may not have a sequel or another season. Like, I don't think we're getting, I don't know if it was actually confirmed. I believe it is, but I don't believe we're getting a season 3 of Loki. I think that was it for Loki's story. And I'm happy with that.
At this point, as far as we know, and as far as Tom Hiddleston has stated, that's pretty much it for Loki. He may, I mean, listen, I believe he might show up in like King Dynasty and Secret Wars. It's very possible he could.
Yeah.
But as far as we know, his character is.
Yeah. So I would like that, but what was this other thing he was talking about? Like talking about the failure of the Marvels. The Marvels was shot during COVID. There wasn't as much supervision on the set, so to speak, where we have executives there really looking over what's being done day after day after day.
So yeah, I heard this earlier and I told you, and I'm going to say the same thing here. I like to think when he made this comment and said executives being on set, I like to think he was specifically only talking about just Kevin Feige. Because why the hell would there be any other executives on a Marvel set? Granted, we don't exist in the space. We don't know how the whole system and everything works. But I don't want anyone else around who isn't Kevin Feige or someone that Kevin Feige wants around. That's just me. So
makes sense.
I like to think that when he said that, he meant that Kevin Feige couldn't make it to the Marvels set often enough. Which, you know, I don't necessarily know that if that's the case, that it really hurts me. Again, the movie is good. The problems that people have with it aren't issues that an executive being on set, I think, fixes. So I don't. That one's a really weird comment, I think.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on from Bob Iger's comments, let's talk about Taika Waititi's comments real quick.
Yay!
Yeah, he did the Thor movies because he got a paycheck,
which is fine.
That's not. Again, we're going back to the thing of like, does it seem right or natural, or does this seem crazy that a person would talk bad about their product? Taika Waititi is a director. He should be proud of what he's doing and not necessarily make it sound like, hey, I only did this because they were giving me a paycheck. Especially, again, when we're looking at the difference between you go and have a job where all you do is stand at the cash register at the grocery store all day. Unless you happen to be happy with that job, I would say most people probably aren't. They have that job as a means to an end. They're there to collect a paycheck type of thing.
Yeah.
If you are a director of art, you are helping to create a vision, taking a vision from paper to the screen. You should be proud of what you're doing. You should want to do that and not be publicly saying, hey, I'm doing this because I'm getting a paycheck.
The thing about Taika Waititi, I feel like I've defended the guy. I've liked the guy a lot. He does have a great sense of humor, generally. And I thought Jojo Rabbit was a fantastic movie. Thor Ragnarok also I've grown into over the years, though it's not, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Marvel movie by any stretch of the means.
It's good.
It's good. It got better over time. It aged well. Thor: Love and Thunder is probably my least favorite Marvel movie at this point, and it is. You know, I know we did a Marvel ranking before, and it ranked higher than I actually probably would rank it now. But I'm having a hard time like really getting on the Taika Waititi train at this point when he's saying stuff like that, where he's like, I never even really read a Thor comic. I don't even really care. I'm not even that I'm like, why did you then? Why did you do the movie that you did? Love and Thunder is the best Guns N' Roses music video master. That's probably true.
Especially when the ending to November Rain kicked in during the final like battle. I was like, oh hell yeah. I
don't know. This puts I'm gonna maybe sound weird. This puts a bad taste in my mouth for Taika Waititi. I'm just not. I'm losing hope in the products he puts out. I still want to see that next Goal Wins. I think that does look charming and fun. But the box office right now is not showing that. And right now, I'm pretty well not looking forward to him doing a Star Wars movie, especially as he's putting out comments like, "Oh, I'm just going to piss a lot of people off with my Star Wars movie." I'm like, well, maybe we don't have to do that. Maybe we can just make a good movie. Maybe we don't have to go so far out in left field. That being said, do we think his Star Wars movies, even still going to happen? I mean, obviously it's still on the books, but well, remains to be seen, I guess. In my opinion, I think they should focus strictly on the Dave Filoni movie and the Rey New Jedi Order movie, and just kind of focus in on those two.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is not a good look for me for Taika Waititi. I'm kind of not on board with this attitude that he's taken on this, and for whatever his reason being. I think them kind of moving away from the Taika style for Thor, and I know they're looking. Rumor has it right now they're looking towards, I believe, Gareth Edwards for the next Thor movie, of which
could be interesting.
I'm kind of on board for. I know a lot of people are scared of a darker turn for Thor because they're thinking back to Dark World, and again, I don't care because I didn't mind Dark World. I think the villain was obviously not great, but the movie itself was fine. Yeah, I think Gareth Edwards is probably, in my mind, a better choice for the direction they want to go with Thor. So I'm okay with that.
William Harold, I want David Lynch's Thor. Wow, that's going to be weird.
I am not a god.
Anyway, so yeah. I just find that weird. Like, I'm trying to relate to that here. Say, like, in my personal life, I would love to say publicly badmouth a company that I've worked for. I don't want to do that because I am currently looking for another job. I don't need a potential employer to go Google search me and find out if I have anything bad in my past. They come across this channel in a video in particular, and then they hear me bad mouthing another company that I worked for.
As unlikely as that is,
as unlikely
to play it safe.
Still, I don't like. I'm being proactive in it, in that I don't want to put that out there, so to speak.
Yeah, so the question is, do you see Taika Waititi making another movie for Disney? Well, I mean, not another movie for Marvel, at least.
Yeah, I would say he's supposed to be doing a Star Wars movie. Well, if he's bad-mouthing another Disney movie, why would Disney want to hire him to do a Star Wars movie when they don't know, is he just in it for the paycheck?
So what is his, I can't remember his actual quote. Is he actually like really bad-mouthing anything, or is he just saying, yeah, I just did those movies for a paycheck? I don't know if that's really necessarily bad-mouthing.
I would consider that as bad-mouthing. Again, we're talking about the difference between someone working a job as a cashier, which they could bad-mouth and people would understand, potentially, versus someone who is a director who likes art, supposedly. Well, he should be in here, I want to make art for you, not I want to come in and get a paycheck from you.
But is he saying, like, yeah, I did terrible movies and Disney was a terrible company to work for? Or is he going, no, I really did, like, obviously I needed the money, and so I did movies that got me money? That's not really bad-mouthing the company. That's not really bad-mouthing his movies. It's just acknowledging and admitting that he did it for a certain reason.
Have you ever been in a job interview where the person interviewing you is like, so why would you like to work for my company? Be like, because you have a job open, I am capable of doing that job, and I would like a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what you say in an interview. You want to convince them why you are perfect for that position. And so you're telling them passionate things like, I believe I could increase your sales output, whatever. Like, that's why I want to come work for you, not because I need money and I have to pay bills. So, yeah, that's why, like, again,
I wouldn't qualify that as bad mouthing, though. Still,
I don't think it's a good way of approaching that, I would say.
I think there's definitely a more delicate way he could present information, but
Robert, we did some checking and when wondering why you put Raiders in the D tier.
That's a callback.
I'm
right
sorry,
there.
you can't work here. We appreciate people who have a healthy appreciation for Indiana Jones.
That's a callback right there.
Anyways, while we're talking about people who are creating Marvel movies, it was announced that Michael Waldron is going to write Avengers King Dynasty. I forgot who it was. I don't think it was Michael Waldron, but someone already did like a pass on it just to illustrate what the direction the movie's going to go for. And then that was where we were talking about before. They did a pass on it, but they weren't officially signing up to be a writer. Now we got Michael Waldron coming in to write.
Well, yeah. So it was saying that the writers who were initially signed up for King Dynasty exited the project, just the same as the director Daniel Desencretin.
I don't think they actually had a writer fully set for King Dynasty.
Well, whatever. There was a news story that was out that was basically saying the writers who were going to be involved with it or were involved with it exited the project. So that's one of the initial reasons why everybody was getting worried about King Dynasty.
Michael Waldron is he's kind of in a weird position here because he was also the writer for Loki, or at least Loki season 1, which everyone loved. Did a great job. Yay, he's writing King Dynasty. We're good. He also wrote Multiverse of Madness,
which not everybody loved.
Which was not a very highly regarded Marvel movie. I think it's actually it fits the very definition of it's okay. It's entertaining.
It's fine.
I enjoyed it. I've watched it multiple times. It's good. It's okay. It's not like the oh my gosh Endgame or No Way Home or anything like that, but it's all right. So yeah, I think we're gonna have like a lot of people kind of like about this because we love Loki season 1, may not have liked Multiverse of Madness. I guess he's also the writer for Secret Wars, which is good because I believe those two should actually be tied in together anyways.
There was a talk of people saying that they should get, I can't remember if it was the guys responsible for Loki season 2, basically.
Benson and Moorhead.
Yes. Were they the writers or directors?
They were both.
Okay, both. A lot of people were talking about like, hey, we should get them in charge of at least Secret Wars, and I am behind that 100%. That's the direction I think they need to go. Even if they are only on that project and not on King Dynasty, I still think 100% get them involved in Secret Wars at the very least.
Yeah, I think they did great with Loki season 2. So yeah, I would be all for. It's kind of weird because I don't think, from what I've seen from Benson and Moorhead, doing a full-fledged superhero movie, I don't know if that's necessarily their wheelhouse. Their wheelhouse really is more take something conventional that we all understand, but put a think piece on top of it. For example, Loki season 2. I've talked about like it was a good show. I was still thoroughly confused with what they were describing as far as what the time stuff and the spool and the thread and all the like. Some of that was just kind of going over my head. Just not able to sit down and really focus and try to understand what it was they were talking about. But it's stuff like that. You have Loki, which is a character we all understand Loki. We know Loki. We love Loki. But we put this time stuff mixed in with it. That's what they do. So I don't know if like doing something like Secret Wars is necessarily going to be good for them. Because they're going to want to put some kind of weird twist or spin on it, and
I'm thinking about that with
Wars needs.
I'm thinking about that with the Beyonder.
Possibly, it just depends on how they. how they do it. And so far, what's really strange is I have yet to hear anything from Marvel confirming whether or not the Beyonder is even in this.
We're a ways off.
Yeah, I know we're a ways off, but it sounds like they may still be trying to focus, or last I've been able to read, it sounds like they were trying to focus on Kang being in control of this whole battle world thing, which is going to be weird and awkward. It will still probably shift from Kang to Doctor Doom in Secret Wars, but yeah, I'm really hoping they bring the Beyonder in there.
In my mind, what they are doing is building up Kang and making him a huge threat and playing that out in Kang Dynasty, and then just at the very end undercutting him and bringing in somebody who's more powerful than him. And whether at that point you have Doctor Doom doing that, or if you're just placing it as the Beyonder coming in and going, "Hey, I see what you've been doing here with Kang. You guys are going to go to Battle World. Let's do it."
So that being said, there's another part to this that it's kind of interesting. I don't see like any real news places talking about, and it may just be common sense, no duh. But this is still kind of confirming that Marvel is still moving forward with Avengers Kang Dynasty.
For the most part, yeah.
Because, I mean, it sounded kind of iffy there for a while, but
they
are still moving forward with it, which is funny because I believe Jonathan Majors' trial started today. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that trial turns out, but
I don't know how long that trial is going to be, if it's like a couple days, a week, or however long it is.
Don't know, but Marvel still is still all in on Kang, so we'll see how that lands.
They're all in on Kang for now. You have Michael Waldron set to write Avengers Kang Dynasty because we don't have a name for another movie other than Kang Dynasty in that position right now. Mm-hmm. If Jonathan Majors goes to prison or whatever for a year, what have you, he's not going to be Kang. He's not going to be Kang.
Or even if he's just found guilty, Marvel will separate themselves from him. Yeah,
even if he got out after a year and good to go, good to start filming again, they're not gonna do that. It's not gonna happen.
Marvel's gonna marry him.
Let's not talk about that. They're not gonna move forward with him. Yeah, if he's found guilty, it's done. He's out as Kang. In which case, then they're left with the choice of, do we continue moving forward with the character of Kang and just recast him and just continue the story as planned? Or do we ditch Kang and do something different? Bring Doctor Doom up and do that instead of Kang Dynasty. Yeah. In which case, at that point, they will rename the movie that is in the Kang Dynasty slot to something else, and Michael Waldron will still be the one writing whatever that movie is. So they might be that would be the funniest thing. That Marvel has an opportunity to do something really hilarious here. But regardless, I wouldn't 100% say they are all hands on deck for Kang Dynasty. Still, we have no idea what's going to happen. That trial is going to probably be the deciding factor here as to what happens.
So real quick, that joke of recast him with Terrence Howard, that actually reminded me of what's going on with Nimona. So Nimona was shopped around to different studios and Disney passed on it. Mm-hmm. And Netflix ended up with it. And now it's getting critical acclaim, and there's a chance very high chance, I would say, it's likely going to be nominated for Best Animated Film at the Oscars. And what would be great is if it actually wins over any other Disney, like if it beats out, say, Elemental, which it probably will.
It's not going to beat Across the Spider-Verse.
But as long as it beats a Disney one, that would be funny. Yeah. So, yeah, good job, Disney. Now that we got Bob Iger back in there, let's right this ship. The one thing we didn't talk about with Bob Iger is he's talking about like all these problems. Like, yeah, let's not forget that Bob Iger was also involved with the whole like writers and actors strike there that he failed to.
Yeah, I liked that he gave excuses for why the Marvels is underperforming when we're all over here like, it's because you didn't have your actors ready to go for promotional rounds and everything. And therefore you didn't have a good marketing plan for that movie. Your marketing plan got squashed all the way around. And if there wasn't an actor strike, it wouldn't have. You would have been marketing that thing for months and had the charismatic lead actresses of that movie, Iman Vellani, Brie Larson, Teyonah Parris. You would have had them promoting the movie for months.
So, Mr. Iger, that's your fault. So,
granted, it's partly his fault and then partly the fault also of the other studio heads who, some of them may have been stretching the thing out longer than it needed to go, like my point right now.
One last thing I want to cover real quick is this rumor that popped up that Anya Taylor-Joy has signed on to be a villain in Fantastic Four. First of all, we were promised that we would find out who the Fantastic Four cast is once the actor strike was over.
Forecast, got it. Nice.
We were forecasted the forecast, the Fantastic Forecast.
Where's the forecast?
Yeah,
we need to turn that into a bit of some sort.
Yeah, here's your Fantastic Forecast with weather.
Rainn Wilson playing the Thing.
Nice. But yeah, we were promised this casting, and we still have yet to get this casting. So
confirmed anyway. I mean, obviously there's talks, and we covered this last time we did a tagline. There's talks of Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby.
So
they were the others.
Yeah, they were talking about Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be the villain, and everyone started saying Silver Surfer. Because they were also talking about how Galactus is probably going to be in this movie. First of all, real quick, my opinion, they should not be doing Galactus and Silver Surfer in this first movie. If anything, they should be teased like in a post credits, and that's it. Otherwise, it needs to be, let's do Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom. Let's set the foundation, and then we move into it. Now, the idea is, yes, Galactus is the Celestials? He's like a celestial being that eats planets, and he uses the Silver Surfer as his herald to go locate planets teeming with life that he can eat. He's also had other heralds, like Frankie Ray, who's also known as Nova. I believe that she would play a great Nova. She would do great as Frankie Ray, not Silver Surfer.
So he's had Silver Surfer. He's had this Frankie Ray person. Did he have William Herald?
No, not William Herald. William Herald has, as far as I know, he has not been an official herald of Galactus.
I feel like I got to the joke before he did.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't think she's playing Silver Surfer at all. And my argument for that, and I think it's a pretty airtight one, is if you look at the MCU as a whole. First of all, Silver Surfer is a major hero. He's a major character. In terms of just overall Marvel lore storyline, like he's got to be at least on the same tier as Iron Man was before the Iron Man movie.
I would have put him on the same tier as like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. He's up there as far as popular characters. He's not Spider-Man or Wolverine, but he is up there with them.
So being a major character, looking at the MCU as it has been so far in as many years as it's been around, there has not been a character of his tier level and status that has had a completely different take on that character being portrayed in a movie. In this case, being a gender swapped character. Everybody who, as far as I'm aware, everybody who's been a major contributing hero of some sort, race swaps, yes, have occurred. Namor was not traditionally, I believe, Aztec or Central American. I can't remember where Atlantis was supposed to be located at, but that's a little bit different. And you know what? That's a good take. It's a great take on his character. I think it makes sense. I think it's...
You were expecting them to get to real Fishman.
Yeah, exactly. I was expecting them to pull someone straight out of the ocean from Atlantis now.
You breathe underwater? Cool, you're Namor.
I think Namor was a good switcheroo in terms of the way they presented him. Some other characters like that. And then, of course, you do have a few supporting cast members, like the Ancient One, who traditionally was a man in the comics, was Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange. And then, of course, a few others, like Dar-Benn, I believe, the recent villain of the Marvels, was a dude man bro in the comics also.
Taskmaster. I still argue that one is a little bit different because they could introduce a different Taskmaster who is the Taskmaster from the comics, but Taskmaster also is not a major character, I would argue. So that all being said, I don't think Kevin Feige is going to do a gender swapped Silver Surfer either. There is a first time for everything, but I would argue that what Kevin Feige is trying to do is trying to present as close to comic book as possible versions of the characters in movie form, which means he's going to take them from the page as they are presented on the page and put them in the movie as much as possible, as close as possible. Like I said, again, we have the Namor type situations, which makes sense and kind of shift a little bit. But I can see like maybe someday in a soft reboot or a full reboot of the MCU and we don't want to do the same storylines over again. And we want to do new takes or new versions of the characters that exist in the multiverse. I could see them doing an Anya Taylor-Joy type person portraying Silver Surfer. And that could be fun. That could be a fun, different, interesting take on the character. But I do see them trying to nail down and perfect the actual comic to screen version of Silver Surfer first. So I would see her for sure playing someone like Frankie Ray. And I think that's a much better fit for her as an actress too. Mm-hmm. All right. So moving on to the main topic. This is what was gutting me about the fact that we didn't do Tagline last week, but I'm actually kind of happy that we've waited on this because now we've had all this time for this story to really just flesh itself out. So everything in regards to Scream VII. Yeah. So the quick Cliff Notes version of this, Melissa Barrera went on Instagram and publicly stated her opinion of the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict that's going on. Mm-hmm. First of all, we're not going to really talk about that because neither one of us are informed enough on that to give any kind of an opinion.
Also, we're a movie channel.
I'm here to talk to you about movies. Real world events, that's another YouTube channel. Go over there if you want to know about that, because I've tried learning as much as I can. A lot of it is confusing. I'm not informed enough about that to have any kind of opinion. What I do know is what she was doing is she was putting out on social media messages in support, positive messages of support in the whole thing. Not anything like, hey, let's let the terrorists win. No.
Yeah, she was putting out messages of peace and against genocide and against, the horrors of war.
Yeah. So she put this out, and I guess at some point, some of the studio heads for Spyglass, and it sounds like maybe a little bit of like Paramount had a little influence on this as well. That they came in saying that she was saying something anti-Semitic, which everything I've read that I've looked at that she posted, none of it sounded anti-Semitic at all.
No.
So I don't know where they're getting that from. Maybe there's something else that we haven't seen. I don't know. I doubt it. But so supposedly she was let go for her making comments, just comments in general, about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So she was let go, and then it was the very next day, which I believe was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, it was announced that Jenna Ortega would not be coming back to Scream VII, as she is very busy and her schedule is set up to go film Wednesday, season 2 of Wednesday.
She's booked.
So that's what we were told going into Thanksgiving. It's kind of weird because I was expecting coming out of Thanksgiving, we would see everyone else from like the cast dropping out. We would hear the director officially dropping out. The director, so Christopher Landon, the director of Scream VII, he did put out a tweet on that Tuesday or so saying, hey, don't blame me. I don't have any control over this. I'm just directing the movie. And then that tweet was taken down. Apparently everyone was yelling at him to be supportive or whatnot.
They're calling him a coward, which is just a horrible thing to do.
Yeah. The thing that most people do not realize is the rest of the world works differently than Hollywood land does. When you are a director of a big movie like that, a movie that's going to have a lot of eyes and ears and faces and money thrown at it, you can't just say what you want to say being your own individual person. As much as like we can, you typically can't in regards to stuff like that. You have to go through like a public relations, a publicist. Someone has to verify and make sure you're saying the right thing at the right time.
It's the war of idealism versus contracts.
Yes.
Contracts exist. You have to abide by them, regardless of whether you want to say something or lean a certain way or not. That's just how it works.
Like if we were to come out and say, hey, we're canceling Marquee next month, we're able to do that. I don't have to go through a public relations person. The most that we're going to do is the two of us will talk to each other off camera, or more likely on camera, because we tend to do that a lot. But either way, we're going to talk about it between the two of us first, and then we'll make that announcement. Neither one of us is just flat out coming out saying, hey, we're going to cancel this show, or we're not doing this channel anymore. We're not saying anything without discussing it with one another first.
Yeah.
Same thing applies even in greater detail in Hollywood. Christopher Landon, while he is his own person, he's allowed to defend himself. Probably shouldn't make comments without making sure it's gone through some kind of a PR or publicist, which is why that tweet, I'm willing to bet money that I don't have, but if I had the money, I would bet it. I'm willing to bet that's why that tweet was taken down, and that we will probably still get a full statement. I'm still willing to bet we will hear from Christopher Landon and at least the other two leads, Mason Gooding and I cannot remember her name.
Maybe
his twin in the movie.
All the talk about all the stuff today, though, has him still set for directing what might inevitably be just not really a reboot, but a completely different way to take the seventh movie.
Jasmine Savoy Brown. Yes.
There you go.
So since then, it has also come out, I think this past Friday, it came out that Spyglass is looking at, Spyglass and Paramount are really hoping they could get Neve Campbell and Patrick Dempsey back, which after the last movie and the whole thing with Neve Campbell asking for more pay, I don't think you're going to get Neve Campbell back. Especially, and very likely you're not going to get Patrick Dempsey either, because he's just coming off of not only being named the sexiest man in the world by, what was it, USA Today or something. Not only that, or People Magazine, whatever. Not only being called sexiest man alive, he also just had a pretty good role in Thanksgiving, another horror slasher movie. I don't know if you're going to get him back for a legacy sequel like this.
So Spyglass also came out today. I think it was Spyglass came out today. Someone came out today and detailed a little bit more about what was going on. That Melissa Barrera was technically let go about a month ago for comments that she made. For same reason. Which I got confused over, because I thought she made comments very recently and that she was being let go for those specific comments. But apparently there were some other comments that are like, there's some other comments that she made that we're letting her go for. Whatever. It feels like a scapegoat excuse to me. And then the other thing was that Jenna Ortega decided to not continue on with Scream because she wanted a higher pay as well, given her status as a star and how she's a rising star, and wanted for projects right now by a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're wanted by a lot of different people for their different projects, it's a bidding war. And to the highest bidder go the spoils, or Jenna Ortega at this point.
I do love, real quick, when what was it, the Scream movie that came out in 2022. I don't know if you remember, I was talking to you specifically about this, that the beginning of the movie is Ghostface going after Jenna Ortega. And I was like, I remember when it first came out, I was like, who's this person? Like, the first person at the beginning of the movie is supposed to be someone that we know, like Drew Barrymore in the original, or what was it? Scream 2 had Jada Pinkett. Scream 3 was Cotton, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So we've had people that we know who they are. I had no idea who this Jenna Ortega person was because she wasn't popular. She wasn't as popular at that time. Since then, she starred like in almost every horror movie that came out that year, including, was it Studio 666 and X, and then Pearl. So, or no, she wasn't in Pearl. She was in X.
Yeah.
So she was in, and then she did Wednesday. She is all over the place now. So yeah, her name now garners that recognition. So you can't pay her the same way again.
She wanted the 7 figures, which fair enough. Makes sense to me. She wanted more than 6. She wanted, hey, let's get into that million range. And therefore the folks over at Spyglass were like, nah. We don't need you.
So,
in which case, I'm sitting there thinking, isn't this the same thing that they literally just went over for the last movies with Neve Campbell?
And that's why, is because since Neve Campbell wasn't in it, they proved that they did not actually need Sydney in a Scream movie for a Scream movie to be successful. So now that the guy that makes that decision, he's sitting there like, well, we don't need Jenna Ortega either.
But they're eyeing to try to get Neve Campbell back. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Once again, I'm going to go back to what I was just talking about. The normal people, us normies over here, not the normies, that's a different YouTube channel, but us normal people, when we're able to see things that apparently the studios, the executives are not able to understand, we're left sitting here like, please make this make sense. This is dumb. This is stupid.
Because at this point, I guarantee that you could probably get both Melissa Barrera and, well, if you wanted to keep her, you can get both Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega for a lower cost combined than you would be spending on Neve Campbell and then whoever else in the movie.
Yeah, you would get 100%. You would get positive feedback for bringing back Melissa Barrera. Because I have not seen a single person, not a single person on the internet, on Twitter, sitting there saying, don't bring Melissa Barrera back. I can't stand her. Well, let me take
there's one
person, but they're saying that for a completely different reason. They were saying that because they just don't like her as an actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the best timing for that.
Yeah. Let's backtrack this. I have not seen one person that is okay with her not being a part of the movie because of what she said.
I'm sure
person is like, you have the right to say this.
Yeah.
And she was completely supportive. Why would you fire her?
I'm sure there's some like backwater racist people out there who probably are saying something or other, but who cares what they think?
Well, you got your racist, you got your misogynistic, you got your dumb boys, whatever you want to call them.
I don't care what any of them think. So yeah, I don't. In my mind, the way I see this going is there's no Scream 7. There isn't. I feel like there doesn't need to be. Especially because like, here's the thing. From what I know about where the story goes, obviously I've only seen the first Scream. From what I know about where the story goes, and I saw the clip of how Scream 6 ends.
That last shot.
Let the Scream franchise just rest for a while. Jay, just let it rest for a while. You can do another Scream movie later on and just let it be like a legacy of Scream, not even related to anything that came before. Just a whole new iteration of Scream.
Yeah.
I think you could do that. And I think they probably should do that at this point.
So that being said, as far as what they're doing right now, as of right now, this Wednesday night, 9:20 p.m. Central Time, I have no idea what Spyglass is actually wanting to do. I don't believe they're going to get Neve Campbell and Patrick Dempsey back, not
Absolutely
only
not.
because of how much money they would probably ask for, but also they're probably just going to be like, no, go fuck yourself. They're going to be like Elon talking to all his advertisers. So yeah, there's that. I do still expect to see the other stars of the movie. I expect to see Mason Gooding drop out. Jasmine Savoy Brown, she's going to drop out. I would expect to see Courtney Cox drop out, and I would expect to see Christopher Landon drop out as director. I want to see all of them just completely leave. And if they all leave and you can't get back Neve Campbell and Patrick Dempsey, your movie is done. If they don't drop out, if I am completely wrong and they still make this movie, I have no interest in seeing it.
Yeah.
At all. Like now it's just leaving such a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want anything to do. And Scream has been a very good series. Yeah, like Scream 3 and Scream 4, in my opinions, not as good as what the rest of them have been, but overall Scream has been a horror franchise that has had more successes than failures. Easily. It's one of the most successful. It's up there with I would say Child's Play is almost just as successful overall.
I'll tell y'all this much. If they don't bring back Melissa Barrera, I can guarantee that I'm not seeing Scream 7.
You weren't going to go see it anymore. That's right, Spyglass. There's 2 people here on this channel that will not go see your movie. Anyways.
Only saw the first one.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping this gets cleared up. I'm kind of curious to see where Spyglass goes with it, and don't also keep making sure we're understanding this. Spyglass really is, from what it looks like, they're the ones that are making this decision. Paramount's just a distributor; they don't have as much say. Spyglass is the main production company. Other thing I've seen that I want to make sure people understand, Spyglass is also a co-producer of Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. And I've heard of people wanting to boycott Thanksgiving because of this also. Don't do that. That doesn't help. Thanksgiving is a completely different product.
Punishing people who aren't responsible for anything.
Yeah, that's like when the actor strike came out, you heard like a lot of the actors saying like, hey, don't cancel your Netflix or your Disney Pluses or your HBO Maxes or whatever the hell it's called. Don't cancel them. Still watch our shows. Like I still acted in a show. Go watch my show. I appreciate you watching it. But you're hurting us more than you're hurting the studio by doing that. So same thing. Don't boycott Thanksgiving just because Spyglass is a co-producer. And keep that in mind. They're a co-producer. They're not the only ones. They don't have that much say in it.
Yep.
So I think that's roughly about it for all the Scream 7 talk. I wish there was more. I really wanted to do this program tonight saying, yes, everyone's dropping out, or yes, they've decided to bring everyone back in and everything's all happy and whatnot in Scream world.
But you know what? Clearly we don't get what we want, especially evidenced as the fact that we've been for the last several taglines waiting for yes, so-and-so is playing Reed Richards.
And we still don't have official confirmation from that.
And it's not a guarantee that Pedro Pascal is at this point.
I feel like this is going to start turning into a running joke. So that's going to do it for the tagline tonight. Join us next week for more news stories. And my apologies to Matt Damon and the fantastic forecasting. We just didn't have enough time to get to you tonight. I think that's what it's going to turn into. Every week we're going to do tagline. My apologies to Fantastic Four. I guess we didn't have time to talk about your casting. So
yeah, it's a great bit. They'll confirm it by next week.
They'll have it confirmed by next week, so I can't do it. Whatever. Anyways, so yeah, that is going to do it for tagline. So you're okie dokie with going with Let Me In.
Listen, there's one thing that I read there that I'm like not too thrilled about.
Does it involve acid?
Well, okay, so that part I'm not like super excited either, but there's definitely like apparently like some kind of decapitation that's like pretty graphic or something that I'm like not huge on, but otherwise for the most part it sounds fine.
I'm actually like, it's been a while since I've seen it and I don't remember that much from it. I do remember liking the movie, so very likely I will also probably rewatch it this week and then be able to 100% confirm for you. Yep, you should be fine. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we'll go with that. So I got William Harold is recommending Sharks of the Corn.
I'll tell you this much. I will do a backup movie for you guys. My choice will be a Good Burger 2. That's my backup choice. I will let you guys know next week what I think about Good Burger 2 for sure, and possibly also Let Me In.
All right. Sure. Anyways, that is going to do it for Tagline tonight. Thank you all for watching us, those of you that were here live. If you are not a part of our Patreon, hop on that $5 Patreon tier and come join us here like in about 30 minutes for the movie trivia hangout over on our Patreon. So quickly sign up. It's just $5, and we're going to probably do that for like at least like a couple hours usually is how long it goes.
Yep. Sign up, get in the Discord, and hang out with us.
Yep. It should be a lot of fun. I very much enjoy movie trivia, and Vernon is very good at writing questions. So, yeah, come join us for that. Otherwise, we didn't talk about it earlier, but upcoming shows, we do have the Marquee is coming up on the 15th at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. That might change, maybe. We'll see. Depends on if I get a job by then and what my schedule is. But tentatively, yes. So the Marquee is on the 15th. We are going to be tier ranking Christmas specials, not Christmas movies. So what I would expect to see the old like 1960s How the Grinch Stole Christmas animated cartoon, and not the Jim Carrey or Benedict Cumberbatch How the Grinch Stole Christmas movies. So yeah, it's going to be Christmas specials. I know we're the Cine Fanatics, but this is going to be one of those times where we're really just focusing on TV Christmas specials. Which I have always treated those like movies when I was.
There's like 2 of them on this list that happened after I was born. And this is a pretty extensive list of Christmas specials, I would say. So we're going to be hitting some solid classics from 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah. I would say most everything on here is before like even I was born for the most part. So yeah, there's going to be some old ones. So your old classics, I mean, obviously you can't do this without talking about your Rudolphs or your Frosties, but if you would like to see the full list of what we will be tier ranking, Patreon. While you are signing up for Patreon to come join us for the movie trivia, stop off on the Marquee channel in the Discord on your way. There is the entire list of TV specials that we're tier ranking already up there. So go see those. Watch whatever specials you may need to watch. A lot of them, I believe, are on YouTube. There's a couple of them that I've already seen in full on YouTube. So go watch those for free, essentially, and then come join us for the Marquee on the 15th. Otherwise, yeah, again, thank you all for watching. Those of you who are watching live, we very much appreciate that. If you are watching this on a replay, we very much appreciate that as well. Either way, make sure y'all hit that like button and the subscribe button. We are closing in on 2,000 subscribers. Help us hit that milestone before the end of this year. We got a little over a month left to hit 2,000 subscribers, and I think we got like about 40 subscribers we still need. So if you are not subscribed, subscribe. That's just one closer. So,
and if you have an alternate account, you're not subscribed.
Go subscribe on that account.
Go subscribe on that account too.
I mean, ultimately, we would like it if it's an account that will also watch us. That's what YouTube likes. But yeah. Anyways, make sure you follow us on social media. We are at The Cinefanatics on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. Also, you can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. I'm about to start doing some TikToking on my own that will very likely have nothing to do with movies. So go follow me. It's going to be also at Robert Adams MLP. So
he's going to be talking about world conflicts.
I mean, essentially, it's going to be about conflicts in general. Maybe not the Israeli-Palestine conflict, because again, but anything else conflicting, we'll more than likely have an opinion on.
You can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP. Twitter, maybe only a little bit longer.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. But otherwise, I think that is going to do it. So again, very much appreciate everyone being here, and we will see y'all next week. And good night.